Hey friends, I I had a session with the osteopath today. Um, and it was, I booked it on purpose because I had a surgery a week ago yesterday, and I knew I was going to want to get kind of a system reset, which is what Andrew is really good at. And man, I have to say, first of all, I was kind of encouraged because almost as soon as I lay down, I was like, oh, my system is actually able to settle. It wasn't like I didn't feel, how sometimes when you get still, you can kind of feel the agitation in your system, whether it's mental energy kind of running or physical energy, discomfort. None of it really. I mean, I do have a big block right here of kind of stuck energy where I got sliced open a week ago. But other than that, throughout the rest of my system, feeling awfully good. So that was a boost. That was a real kind of gave me a sense that the work I've done so far in recovery, and I feel like I can even be better about it, but the kind of energetic physical work I've been doing since I had the surgery is working. It's keeping me in a good place. And there's another aspect to coming out of this process that I'm starting to track. And I haven't spoken about it yet, I don't think. I might have spoken about it before I went. But there's always a transition that takes place when something like a surgery or even just an illness takes place. There's a threshold. We go through some kind of change. And I'm starting to get a sense that the next phase of things for me is somehow getting easier. I listened to a John Vervaeke Awakening from the Meaning Crisis episode today. I think it was episode 17, which is about the Gnostics, and he goes through a lot of things, but one of the things that really stuck with me was he quotes Ellie Paul, who's a philosopher, talks about her work on transformation and how before we go through a significant transformation from one basically worldview to another worldview, we're faced with a kind of crisis in a way, because while we may desire a change, and while we may even desire a significant change in our worldview, in other words, there's someone else we want to be, something else we want to manifest, but we kind of can't get there. We feel blocked. We feel stuck. The gap between us and that other place isn't just a matter of taking clearly defined steps and traveling a certain distance and then we'll be there. It's a matter of kind of like leaping before you look. It's a matter of we actually have to participate in the worldview in order to know, in the changed worldview, in order to even know what it is. There might be elements of it that are attractive. There might be aspects of life that we know aren't working. So in other words, it might seem like a good deal, But at the end of the day, it's not a rational decision. It's, our subconscious sees the world a certain way. We want to get to a place where we see the world and ourselves in a different way. There's a kind of crisis there because we can't know where we're going or what it's going to be like. We also can't know what we will lose. We can't know what we're leaving behind. We can't know how much of who we are now, what aspects of it we're going to end up either abandoning or losing or changing. And so he talks about this kind of inherent critical aspect to what it means to really transform. And then he talks about some really cool practices. I forget what it's called. Some Scandinavian game where they basically have you role play someone from the worldview that you're trying to kind of change to, and little by little, the game sort of infuses reality, and you kind of get a little. It's almost like if you can imagine like a trailer, like watching a trailer for what it would feel like to be in this other worldview. Kind of fascinating stuff. I'd never heard of it. Jeep something. It's a Scandinavian sort of gamified transformative practice. But it spoke to me because as I was listening to him describe the feeling of stuckness, the feeling of, I really want to get there, but I can't. I was like, oh, there is something in that for me. There's something in that I sense that something's got to change. I think I know kind of what it will look like. But the truth is I have no idea. I've sensed more and more that there are elements of the way I am now that I'm unconsciously attached to. I can't quite articulate them yet, but I can tell they're there. And that means that there's going to be, as I was thinking about this today, it means that there's going to be a moment of reckoning, there's going to be challenges in this process. There are probably going to be moments when I am at least somewhat convinced that I don't want to change. That it's either too dangerous or it could have some negative effect on me or my life. I sense that I'm going to hit that because otherwise there's no way to explain why things haven't changed. Otherwise, there's simply no way to explain why there's not more transformation happening. And I've kind of set things up for the next couple of months that in a way that I think is going to offer me an opportunity. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to go. I just had this vision today. I had a vision of myself maybe in like a month or so. And I actually am thinking about working with a new coach. Met a new music coach who I think I really like. Had a great first kind of non-salesy vibe on our first call, and I had a vision of myself basically telling her not to take any bullshit. And so again, as I'm coming out of recovery from surgery, as I'm kind of re-entering my normal life, I'm also feeling like there's a clarity, there's a kind of there's some doors opening. And I was driving, as I was driving, this is before I had my appointment today, as I was driving up there, there's part of me that thought to myself, you know, I have challenges. There's stuff I struggle with. But I have real clarity in certain areas of my life. I have real clarity in some ways that feel incredibly important, in some of the most important ways. I've done a lot of work in certain areas, and I feel like I've created a foundation where whatever happens, I have a platform for living consciously. And it'd be nice to solve some of the challenges. It'd be nice to make some changes, positive changes. But I don't have to go into this afraid of who I am or who I might not become or who I might end up being. There was part of me that was like, you don't need to worry about that. That's a horrible place to be, and I've been there. I mean, it's not horrible if you're sort of doing the work willingly, but it's a powerfully challenging place to be, but I'm not there anymore. I have a rootedness in who I am and what I'm about. So what I'm talking about is making some changes that allow me to express that even more fully, to be that even more fully. And it felt good to sort of be able to dismiss the confusion, dispel the confusion. Because challenges, things that are hard, worldview transitions are difficult. They are demanding. They don't make it easy. But having a sense of a kind of fundamental orientation, a kind of fundamental point from which to engage and assess the world, and ultimately express who I am. It's a powerful thing to have. It's a powerful thing to own. And God only knows why coming out of surgery is giving me this sense of that. But I had a feeling this was going to be a kind of a transformative threshold phase. And it feels like it's delivering. So, as I fill in more details, I will undoubtedly talk your ear off about it. But for now, that's where I am today. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a great day. See you soon. Appreciate you.